Welcome to the Supercar Killer M3 rebuild presented by Turn 14 Distribution. If you want to go supercar hunting, you got to use some serious motorsports grade stuff like this. If you guys watched the first episode on this project, then you'll know that we're starting out with what is a bit of a rough E46 M3, but we think it's got really good bone structure. It's a car that you can go supercar hunting with. At least Pete thinks so. I'm maybe still a little bit on the fence, but he's winning me over pretty quickly with some of the goodies that he's ordered up here, including these very serious JRZ coilovers, true motorsports quality stuff that's still comfortable enough to go to be used on the street. At least that's what we're told, and that's what we're going to find out. As well as some StopTech competition big brakes, some Forgeline wheels, which we've never used before. I'm really stoked to share those with you because they look incredible. And of course, some Continental Extreme Contact Sport summer tires, which are often a tire of choice on supercars. So we've got some really serious gear here. So let's get this bit of a beater on the lift and see what we're working with. Well, Peter's Swamp Monster here is struck for the first time. This thing's been sitting around outside so long that the wheel is not coming off.
Ooh, listen to that rust just start coming loose.
Come on, baby.
Smash that rim, DP.
Oh, really, man?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there she goes. Yeah, you're right. It did have to hit the rim. Oh, my hand got caught between the hub and the tires. It was bouncing around. Why am I working on this car, Peter? Well, look, everyone. This is what happens when you buy a car out of a swamp. You end up with this, which I think gives the abandoned STI's brakes run for its money, which raises the point that this is not just a build, this is a rebuild, as I called it off the top, because this thing is going to get a full, we'll call it a frame-off restoration. We're going to fix everything underneath this car so that it's not only performance-wise up to supercar standards, but we want it to be visually up to supercar standards too. So let's start removing this rusty mess and this beautifully painted red caliper.
Gotta love that.
We keep buying cars owned by people that paint their calipers.
True enthusiast, DP.
Man, that was too much work trying to get that out of there. We were obviously kind of fighting against the whole suspension, trying to pry it out from the top. So it's got to be an easier way of doing it. Let us know in the comments section, you E46 guys, what we were doing wrong there. So
yeah, did we like need to unbolt the ball joint or what, right?
Yeah, we were definitely doing it wrong, but we did get it out. And in its place, we are putting these brand spanking new JRZ RS2s. These are part of their street lineup, or I should say like street and track lineup of coilover systems. The 2 implies that it's double adjustable, meaning you can adjust rebound on the top, 21 positions on the top, and either 9 or 14 positions for compression on the bottom, depending on whether it's a strut or a damper. So this being a strut, I think it's 14-way and the dampers are 9-way. And obviously the benefits of adjustability we can go into in the future, but we should talk a little bit about JRZ and the fact that they are a top-tier manufacturer of dampers and coilover systems. They're known best in the motorsports world. You'll find these on like the very best racing cars in Europe and North America. And interestingly, they also make stuff for street cars or street/track cars. They have their RS Touring line, which is designed more with street comfort in mind. And this being their RS Sport line, it's a little bit more street and track oriented. So these might skew a little bit more toward the track, where the Touring is obviously designed a little bit more for comfort. And we're running some pretty serious spring rates on these. These are 600-pound front, 750-pound rear. But as JRZ explained to us, the way they do their damping, you still get remarkably good road comfort or street comfort, even though the spring rates are high, because of the magic that they are executing on the inside of these dampers, which of course comes through their experience with motorsport. Man, that's looking good in there, and that went in very easily.
Oh, so easy.
It's a slightly shorter shock body than the OEM stuff, so in she went.
It's just so nice working with new parts, you know?
It is, and we should mention that anything that you see here that looks rusty and old, that's all going to go away as this project progresses. So there'll be, you know, new sway bars, new end lengths, new nuts and bolts. This thing's going to be really fresh top to bottom. Well, the swamp certainly had its way with the brake system, PT. Look at,
I know.
look at the back of this rotor.
She nasty.
It is full skank spec. Glad to see these going in the dump, or I guess to the metal recycler, since we're environmentally friendly car guys here. And by the way, we should mention that the brake system on this car is one of its real Achilles heels. We've got a bunch of buddies that have tracked these cars for years, and they were always having huge brake fade issues on the stock brakes. So they've all had to go to big brake kits of various types. Some work better than others, and as we'll show you momentarily, we've gone with what we consider to be the best in the business. And this stuff is also very heavy, so we're not only going to gain performance, but we're also going to save weight by going to this new StopTech C43 kit. So this is their competition brake kit, as they call it, and it uses this C43 caliper, which is extraordinarily light and
it's a work of art, too.
Beautifully made. Like, look at all these little pockets and stuff where they're taking weight out of it. It uses a 44 mil and 38 mil piston size, and it is just gorgeous. In fact, you can see these, I think, or similar calipers to these being made in our factory tour at StopTech. So go check that video out if you want to see more about how they manufacture these in America. And the reason we've thrown the braided stainless steel brake liner here, which comes with the kit, is because we wanted to weigh this versus the factory caliper, which is remarkable. These only weigh 4.4 pounds. These weigh 12 pounds, which is kind of mind-blowing. So a huge amount of savings there, with obviously the stiffness and the performance advantages that come with, you know, reduced unsprung mass and all that good stuff. So huge improvement in performance and weight there. And with this true two-piece floating rotor, we're also saving a surprising amount of weight. These were 2 pounds lighter than the factory rotor, despite the fact that they have a lot more thermal mass where you want it out in the rotor disc area. So if you look at the difference between these two, both in, the most sort of informative is looking at the sides here, where you can see just how much more material there is, both in the outer faces, and how much better the venting is. It's got, the angled vent, so it'll move air through the rotors much better to cool them. And obviously with the aluminum center, you save weight in that area where you want to save it. And obviously we are also going with StopTech's what are the SR33 race pads. So this is a proper racing brake pad, this being a proper racing brake kit. And if we find these to be too dusty or too noisy on the street, we'll obviously swap in maybe their sport pads for the street and just swap these in for the racetrack. But we're going to try them out on the street, because why not? I've actually found that some race pads work surprisingly well on the street, and these may be the case. And just like that, man, we got big brakes on the front of this thing, and they look very
unbelievable.
Sexy. Obviously, we will report back to you in future episodes when we actually test these out performance-wise, but very exciting to have some real brakes on this car, because like we talked about earlier, this thing really does suffer from woefully underperforming stock brakes.
Well, we have our first issue, and it includes these lug studs. Man, bolts.
Yeah.
Bolts. They are seized solid. Why? Well, looks like somebody hasn't touched these in ages. I mean, judging by how worn out the tires are, who knows when the last time this wheel has come off. Like, these are on winters. They're completely worn out. Attempt number 2 here is big breaker bar. Let's see what happens. I really don't want to snap these.
No, it would not be great.
It does happen.
Oh, I didn't put enough weight on the
Oh
car.
man, all right. I think that's a good sound, EP.
She's moving.
She is moving. That's good. All right. That is one. Let's see if I can get another one going here. Oh my God, who tightened these?
The swamp.
Jesus.
The swamp beetle. It's finally entered the game here.
Okay, did that go or did that snap?
No, that went, good. I think. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, you gotta really give it a good thump. Problem is, it never flies off.
Oh, I caught the corner here.
Oh, everybody.
Don't worry, look, that's the curb rash. That's my hit.
Oh,
no. Oh, yes. So much time and effort.
We're wrestling an alligator here.
We're moving a wheel. And we've got replacements. I am beyond stoked for our Forgeline wheels. You guys don't understand how awesome these are. You're gonna see in just a minute. The rear brake situation is, well, it's undecided right now. We're kind of going back and forth trying to decide whether we're just gonna stick with OEM calipers and just replace the rotors with some StopTechs, or go to a 2-piston rear setup just like the front with from StopTech. So we're gonna touch on this in a later episode, but what we really want to do right now is install the JRZ rear coilovers, which means there's gonna be a bit of removal of springs and shocks now. DP, I think the rust has actually helped us in a situation. Unbelievable. Usually you'd have to drop this control arm coming out here to get the spring out, but watch this. And no, these are not lowering springs. They're just rusted so badly that the top broke. Look at that.
Exactly the same as our other car.
I know, that's kind of crazy.
Somebody cared enough to put Coney Sports in the back of this car at some point in its life, but look at these things.
Oh.
They are destroyed. The swamp was not kind to the Coneys, but look at the cool stuff we found in the trunk here. This is a good automotive archaeology here. We've got a giant, probably like a 6-disc CD changer.
Yep.
And we've got a DVD GPS unit where you put a disc in that has like GPS stuff on it. It's not connected to, you know, the satellites of the world. So this is true old school stuff, taking up a whole bunch of valuable space in the trunk. So,
but hold on, let's look at this here. What is this, DP?
The quality wiring loom here.
I think somebody said forget it. Forget to wrap it in electrical wire.
Yeah.
Let's just put a rag around all of the wires. Like, look at that.
This is not a Raychem rag, everyone. This is somebody's do-rag.
I think that is probably the worst thing you could ever do.
It's like an old
wrap
hockey
electrical
sock.
wires.
Yeah,
with
let's just
rag.
create a fire hazard here. So we got a little cleaning up to do back in here, but at least we know that the previous owner cared enough to put in the fancy M twin power turbo 10W60.
We're not going to be needing that anymore.
No, we're not. We can go to other stuff, but we'll talk about that in a future episode. So these are looking a little fresher than those Coneys, and as you can see, they use a nice spherical joint at the bottom of the damper here. And just like the fronts, we've got rebound adjustability at the top and compression adjustment at the bottom with that little pin tool that I showed you earlier. And we have this Bimmer World rear shock tower reinforcement plate. So this literally sits on top of the shock tower and gets sandwiched in here and reinforces that area because it's known to be a little bit of a weak spot on the chassis. Well, everyone, I'm not quite sure why we're revealing the wheels so early in this build, but Pete's in charge here. He's the supercar killer here. I'm just playing along with the rules. So
I just can't wait.
You just want that instant gratification, so we're gonna give it to you right now. Roll these babies in here. Bam, there we go. These are Forgeline monoblock GTD1s in an 18 by 9.5 plus 22 offset. It's a square setup all around, wrapped in these 265 Continental Extreme Contact Sports. And these wheels are true motorsports grade stuff. They are, like I said, a monoblock design, meaning they are machined from a single piece of 6061 T6 aluminum. And they have got these I-beamed spokes as a 10-spoke design. Incredibly strong wheels. They are race ready with load rating. They are extremely stiff and extremely fatigue resistant. This is a true motorsports wheel. You can pound these off curbs all day long. And
or keep up with supercars, DP.
Or keep up with supercars. So yeah, this is the good stuff. And it's certainly a legit supercar type of wheel. So I really like the open 5-lug pattern here where they've removed a lot of weight in the middle of the wheel here by having this design, not wasting time with center caps or a big sort of like aluminum centered piece in here. So all in all, I think they're beautiful. I really like this matte silver finish. I forget the exact color.
Yeah, I think it's called Hyper Silver.
Hyper Silver.
Absolutely beautiful.
It
It's
is
hard to
beautiful.
catch on camera, but man, in person it looks stunning. I think it's going to look beautiful on our dark blue there, BMW.
And the nice thing about a company like Forgeline is they can make these wheels to pretty much any spec in a full range of custom colors. So when you go to their website or you go shopping with them, you can pretty much dial it in exactly the way you want. So
It's a true custom wheel.
it really is. So if we had proper studs on here, I could just throw these on here and we could see how they look over the StopTechs, but because I got to struggle with these silly wheel bolts, let's just cut to these being bolted on there. Because our factory wheel bolts are so hideous, we've put these cheesy plastic covers back on.
I knew they would come in handy, DP.
I assume these are aftermarket. I can't believe that's a factory thing, but it takes some of the cheesiness away, and rest assured, we will make that all pretty again. And speaking of pretty, my God, Peter, look at the concavity of these things. They are so nice and aggressive too. I
can't wait to get this thing on the ground.
Yeah, it looks so good. And I should mention too, these are extremely light. I don't think I mentioned before, these are only 19 pounds at an 18 by 9.5. And the tires are only 24 pounds. So overall, this is a very light wheel and tire package. And speaking of the Extreme Contact Sport tires, this is a tire we've tested a lot on the racetrack, on our S2000, on our FRS, on the new Civic Type R, and we found it to be a very capable track tire as well as a really quiet and nice riding street tire.
Come on, look at this car. I am absolutely in love. I'm gonna give myself a pat on the back. I think I chose the perfect wheel for this car, DP. Come on, right?
Oh, the wheels are awesome. I'm still not sure how you're gonna beat supercars with no power, but that's another issue, I suppose.
Power is coming soon. First, it's all about the aesthetics, right? Because supercars always look so good, so we're trying to make it look good. The paint needs work, the interior needs work. There's a bunch of stuff that needs work, but I think we're gonna call it a wrap on this episode. So thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in any of the parts in this video, check the video description below. There are links there. And I'm putting a call out there. If you guys have suggestions what to do to this car, by all means post in the comments. I've been going back and forth about getting a CSL front bumper, whether I should do that or not, so let me know. They're very expensive if they're legit. I've heard the replica ones don't fit well, so again, post in the comments, let me know. I'm all for suggestions on how to make this car a true supercar killer. No, I was gonna compliment this car and say how clean it is in terms of, like, the front was a joy to work on. There wasn't much rust at all, and now you move back here and it's like, holy, we've got a huge problem with these lugs.